Fred, I know you wrote an article for the Orange and Brown Report, an early look at what the Browns can do in 2023 in the offseason to address, what went wrong in 2022. So take me through that and kind of the things you think that are the most important. Obviously, the defensive coordinator is there, so that's probably a good start.
Yeah, I think, David, that was the biggest move, to get that addressed, because the defense was no question the downfall of the team in 2022. The offense, even with Jacoby Brissett, played much better than anticipated. It actually dropped off when Deshaun Watson came back. So I think it was all on the defense. Everybody expected the defense to pick up where it left off in 2021, because you had 9 of the 11 starters return in same system, all those things, and it did not do that. They really let them down in that stretch, where they lost like 4 games by 9 points, and they couldn't hold the lead in all 4 of those games. If you only won 2 of them, you would have made the playoffs, as much as everything went wrong. And so to me, it's kind of the pendulum. Last year, it seemed like you had to get the offense fixed. They went out and did the big swing to get Watson. This year, it's kind of back on the defensive side. So you got to do some adjustments on offense, but the big pendulum is swerving to the defense, because I think, this defense gave up 22, 23 points a year. It went down in the last few games, and so it's a little deceiving. They were giving up 25, 26 points a game. And if you could get it closer to 20, 21, area, I think this offense should be able to score enough points to win on a regular basis next year. I say should. I mean, they put all the chips in the middle on Deshaun Watson and the offense. So I think they will score points. It's on the defense to keep them in games and allow them to win games.
When you prioritize that, and you look at the roster, I mean, there's holes in it, obviously, but the defense just didn't perform the way it should. What areas do you think need immediate upgrades to do what Jim Schwartz wants to do?
We can only go on the past and what we saw. What he's traditionally done is build a strong defensive line. In his introductory press conference, he said the most important thing is the pass rush. It disrupts a game more than any other area, because now corners can't get their hands on the receivers and all the different things on defense. So it's all about the defensive line. I expect them to address that hot and heavy. Obviously, you have Myles Garrett, but you need someone to go with him, and you need some run-stopping defensive tackles. He's had the number 1 rushing defense in the NFL, as recently with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, held opponents under 80 yards a game. And we all know the Browns need that. And that's got to jump out in the film to him, when they gave up over 130 yards rushing in like 10 of the last 14 games. So I expect the defensive line being major focus there.
When you look at what he likes to do, he likes to have the receivers, the cornerbacks up on the receivers and make life difficult at the line of scrimmage. Do you think there is a guy that can play that single high, free safety, whatever you want to call it, that's on this roster, or is that something else that they have to go and get?
Well, I think that's got to be a big topic of discussion. What is John Johnson? Can he be that? Or do you move on from him? He's going to, you can save about $9 million if they decide to move on from him after June 1st. So I think a lot of these questions are going to come out when we see March 15th and free agency begins, or even maybe moves prior to restructuring or letting guys go, or different moves they make, that will have a big imprint on Jim Schwartz and how he wants to run this defense going forward. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard some talk, maybe Martin Emerson could be a safety, so big and so forth, but I don't think you would look at him as the answer, never playing there. I think that they have to look at Delpit and they have to look at Johnson, decide, okay, those are really the two guys. I don't think Ronnie Harrison's going to come back. I would be surprised. And then all you have beyond him is Anthony Bell, who was a promising undrafted free agent, but he didn't really play. He just played on special teams. So, yeah, I think those are big decisions. And you got, there's been a lot of talk, was John Johnson used the way he was with the Rams? Was it, you spent all that money to bring him here and he just didn't really make the impact that everybody expected. I looked back, when he was a free agent, and everybody out across the board thought that was a home run. That was the guy you need, come from the number one defense in the NFL, and he was the signal caller. So was it the scheme or was it his drop off in play? I think Jim Schwartz is going to answer that question, and he's a big one. What do they do with?